Okay, so we're going to change this standard form equation to vertex form. So let me show you how to do that. Standard form, remember, is when you have no parentheses at all, ax squared plus bx plus c. First thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 11, or get rid of whatever the constant is. We're going to add it to both sides, kind of get it out of the way. Y plus 11 is x squared plus 4x. And now we're going to complete the square on the right-hand side. And what completing the square is rigging the right-hand side to factor in a special way, and we'll get to that. But to do it, you just look at the, first of all, make sure there's a 1 here. If not, divide by whatever that is. But this needs to be even, or would be nice to be even. It doesn't have to be, but it needs to be even for it to work out well, is what I should say. We're going to take 4, and we're going to divide by 2, and then we're going to square whatever that is. Okay, again, whatever that is, divided by 2, and then square that. This number is going to be added to both sides of the equation. Okay, so let me say that again. Take whatever this is. It would be nice to be even, doesn't have to be, but take it, divide by 2, square that, and then add this to both sides. Now, the right-hand side is simple. Left-hand side, I should say, is simple. You add 11 and 4 and get 15. All right, but over here, what we've done is rig this in a certain way so that it will factor to the same thing twice. Factors of 4 that add to 4 are 2 and 2. Now, when people complete the square, they generally don't even write this way. They write it like this, which we know is the same thing. And luckily, there's a nice little shortcut here. Whatever this number is right there, which was half of the original, that number right there, will always show up in this format every time. So it's 2 right there. Now we're just going to move the 15 back. In some places, they never move the 11. They just keep everything on the right, but it gets all jumbled if you do that. So we've now managed to get this into vertex form. And there'll be a different video on standard form and vertex form and how to graph out of those. But this is standard form. This is vertex form. And you use this complete the square process to get from one to the other. Okay? We're going to look at a second example, and we're going to keep it somewhat mild in this video. Okay, we're not going to get into many special cases. Okay, to be mild would be to have a 1 leading coefficient and to have an even B value right there. And this could be whatever. It doesn't really matter what that is. Okay, again, let's change that to vertex form. So let's move the 3, which again, if you look at a different video, they may not move the 3. I just think it's easier. We'll go to the side right here. We're going to take half of -10. That is -5. We're going to square -5. Remember, to square a negative would be nice, put parentheses there. Because when you square anything, it should always come out non-negative, which means either 0 or positive. This can be 25. Okay, so at this next step, you should always be adding something. You should never be subtracting anything, even if I had a negative here. So 25s. Again, half that middle number squared. Okay, this is pretty simple. On the left, just add them. On the right, I'm going to take advantage of what I just said, the shortcut. This number, whatever half was, always shows up like this every time. Let's make sure that's true. So if we had, I'll just very temporarily write the other way. Is it true that -5 times -5 is positive 25? Is it true that -5 plus -5 is -10? Mm-hmm. And again, this process actually forced it to work out that way. And if you think about how this is, we're adding, divide, and then multiplying this, whatever adds to 10 multiplies 25, you can see that process here. But anyway, that's for a different day to explain exactly why that works. And now we just move the 22. Right, so there is your vertex form. Let's do one more. We'll make it odd. We'll keep the leading coefficient 1 for now. We'll make this one odd just for fun. How much fun that is, but we'll do it. We'll say -3 here. And just say 9 there. So we're going to move the 9. So y minus 9 equals x squared minus 3x. Now this is mildly more difficult because when I take half of -3, it does not make, it makes a decimal, but we're just going to leave it a fraction. So this is half. Square it. Now squaring a fraction actually is pretty easy. -3 times -3 is 9. Just square the top. 2 times 2 is 4. Square the bottom. So that's pretty easy. Now, when you have an odd, that shortcut I told you is very, very helpful. Okay, knowing that, because to try to factor something with a fraction is can be mind-boggling, but knowing that this is going to show up is again very, very helpful. Now, over on this side, you probably want to use a calculator. The way I think about it is this is -36/4, and -36 plus 9 is -27/4. Don't worry about that. You might have a decimal here at this point. Not a big deal. We would then add the 27/4 or the 6.25. No, 6.75. I did that wrong in my head. If you add that, your final answer, I'll squeeze here at the bottom, is going to be kind of a mess. And you could have decimals in here. It wouldn't be a tragedy to have decimals, but that's probably the way you'll see it written. Most of what we'll do does have a leading coefficient here of 1 and an even there, thankfully. But that's how I switch from standard form to vertex form.